Hi, it's Stuart Sutton at 1 Acre Plus Homes. Hope you're having a great day. You know, I saw a TED Talk recently, and I really wish I remembered her name, but I don't. She was a statistician, someone who pays very close attention to data and statistics. And while she was pregnant, she went past term, and her doctor highly encouraged her to induce labor because, he says, the chances of a miscarriage would double if she didn't. She asked more questions, delved into it a little further, and found out that the chances of her having a miscarriage normally were 1 in 1,000 at her age and risk level and all that. And if she didn't have the induced labor at this time, they would double to 2 in 1,000. Now, she considered that a misleading stat and did not have the inducement carried the child to term. The moral of the story is very simply this. There are a lot of stats that are kind of misleading. And in the 1 Acre Plus market, if you pay attention to the normal real estate market stats, you might be misled a little bit. Let's take a look at some stats that affect you directly as a 1 Acre Plus homeowner or potential buyer. So let's go ahead and start here. The number of sales for the first 2 months of 23 compared to 22, down 41%. Now, I usually wait till the quarters to put out information, depending on what's going on in the market. I went ahead with 2 months worth of data, even though it's really a little less than I like to use, because so many people are asking, what's going on? What's going on? So this first 2 months gives us a picture of what is happening right now. And sales for homes on an acre or more are down about 41%. That means buyers are kind of sitting on the sidelines, and a lot of sellers aren't putting their homes on the market because they really aren't certain as to what's going on yet. The days on the market, homes are taking longer to sell. 85 days is the average now for homes on an acre or more. That's pretty normal, believe it or not. In the good years that we all thought were terrific years, 15, 16, 17, 2019, 2020, it was that and sometimes over 100 days, and no one ever thought anything about it. But that's typical for homes on an acre or more. It usually takes a little longer than the regular subdivision market. Now let's talk about price changes. We are seeing price changes, and I'm going to preface what I'm going to say with this. A lot of what we're seeing in the prices are dropping are the asking prices. You'll see what I'm talking about in just a minute. Now, compared to a year ago, prices dropped during the listing about 4.27%. So right now what we're seeing is when a home goes on the market, before it goes under contract, on average the price dropped 93.3%. Now granted, some listings didn't drop at all. Some dropped 10%, but the average is 93.3%. Keep that in mind. The list to sell ratio is based on the asking price. What did the home go under contract for? And that fell 6.64% compared to a year ago. That's 95.4% now. So I want you to think about that for a second. From the time it's originally listed to the time it closes, we see a differential of, you see the 93.3 and you see the 95.4. We see a considerable differential from the asking price. And that's what's concerning people. I'm about to show you something that may not be as concerning here in just a minute. All right, so stick with me. The average price is only 1.49% less than it was a year ago. So everyone's saying prices are dropping, prices are dropping, prices are dropping. Well, what's dropping are asking prices. And I've done videos like this before earlier in this shift where I identified that the prices that were being dropped were the asking prices. As a matter of fact, this is the first time we've seen a negative in the 1 Acre Plus market. Subdivision market, yes. 1 Acre Plus market, no. This is the first time we've seen the average price lower than a year ago. All right, but let's face it, 1.5% isn't much. If you've got $1 million house, that's 15 grand. Well, guess what? It was worth 700,000, 650 a couple years ago. So 15 grand isn't really too big a hit to take. Your equity is still there, is what I'm saying. That big run up in equity, your equity is still sitting there. Now, will it sell as fast? No. Will the buyer negotiate harder? Yes, but you're still going to have the majority of that equity that you gained during that frenzied run-up is still sitting there for you. I'm going to show you something else too that might help a little bit, and that's that, well, in any cyclical market, we tend to see expensive homes taking a downturn before inexpensive homes. Now, we've been in this shift for about 6, 7, 8 months now. Still shifting, still moving, but not as dramatically as everyone seems to think. I want you to look at the half of the homes on an acre or more that sold, the most expensive ones. The average price is down 2.71% compared to a year ago. Still, not a fall off the cliff, not dramatic, hadn't taken away a lot of your equity. But look at the homes that are in the lesser half, the least expensive half of the sales, up 8%. So if you own a home on an acre or more and you're in the lesser half, you're still gaining equity. A lot of people just aren't aware of that. Now, where does that break? Well, it's really around 800, maybe 850, and it will depend on the house. There could be a house in the expensive half that sells really, really well and really fast, or one in the lower half that doesn't. It's individually based, but statistically, this is what typically happens during cycles. The expensive homes tend to start down first and lose a little more, and the inexpensive homes follow. Hope that makes sense. We're also going to look at something else and show you what's typical from another perspective in a minute. Now, the homes on the upper half, the top 50% price-wise of homes on an acre or more, are taking longer to sell. See, I put that in green so you can see it real easy. As a matter of fact, the expensive homes in the top half are taking about 3 times as long to sell as the homes in the bottom half. Now, there's certainly nothing to, you can't scoff at the prices in what I call the lower half. You're in the lower half. If you're $750,000, that's still a lot of money for a home, but you're still doing well in the lower half of the bracket than the upper half of the bracket. Actually, the upper half of the bracket isn't doing bad either. The diminishing values are very, very subtle and certainly don't apply to every individual home. Taking longer to sell, selling for a little bit less, buyers are harder on negotiating, but, and here's the big but, your equity is still there. Now let's look at another perspective. What's going on with new homes in the 1 acre plus market compared to resale homes? Well, builders tend to react faster to shifting markets than resale homeowners do. And here's proof of that. They lowered their prices while the homes were listed a lot more, 7.78%. Remember, 4.2% for resale homers. So they lowered their prices more and faster. They also negotiated more and faster. So where we saw about 8.5% total in the original listing price to the closing price for resale, 14.5% for new homes. So they're lowering the prices more and they're negotiating more. That's, again, typical of any real estate market, and it's acting pretty much like the cyclical markets act. Hope that makes sense. So the average price of a new home compared to a year ago is down about 5.48%. And there's really not an upper and lower half of those brackets because most of the new homes are in the upper half of the bracket as far as expense is concerned. Now we're looking at about a 4-month inventory. 6 months is normal. Anything below that's considered a seller's market. Anything above that's considered a buyer's market. Now, why are we acting like a buyer's market when there's only 4 months of inventory? Inventory's low right now. Well, here's why. Because the number of sales has also dropped and buyers are reacting to the frenzied, crazy market that happened on that 18 to 20 month run when buyers were absolutely not able to buy a house because of the competition. There's the reaction to that. Now buyers are saying, okay, I've got control now. And they're going at the negotiation from a buyer's market perspective. I think we'll see that settle after a little while. One other thing I want to remind you of, if you're going to put your home on the market, especially your 1 acre plus home, 87% of real estate agents don't make it 5 years. That's a National Association of Realtors statistic. I'm not picking on agents. I am one, and I started at one time. But in a market like this, I highly encourage you to get an experienced agent. And the mark you want to really pay attention to, in my opinion, is 5 years or more. Now, I'm not trying to discredit anyone with less than 5 years experience, but the bottom line is that's what we see in the open market is It takes about 5 years to gain the experience you need to be really capable of succeeding in real estate. So keep that in mind when you hire a real estate agent. So I popped another video up there. It's right there. It's going to show you some information that you really need to know if you're thinking about buying a home on an acre or more. Take a look. I hope it's helpful. Hope to see you on that video. Feel free to subscribe. We put out videos consistently about the 1 acre plus market. Stats, listings, different information that helps buyers and sellers in this unique market, the home market on 1 acre plus.